What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rec Nation. Listen, we have some more infographics on the channel. This is U.S. Special Forces deployed to China's doorstep. All right, guys, I think we've had the Roy Benavidez video with infographics. So they have some interesting ones. I've seen some of the comments, and I will be getting to them shortly. Of videos we should check out. A good friend of the channel, Caroline, she mentioned something about Iran and the SAS. So I'm there for that. I'm probably going to get to that at some point this week, as well as our Battle 360. I'm putting Battle 360 on a pedestal. Shouldn't do it because what happens when you put things on a pedestal? Yeah, shit always gets in the way. So anyway, without any further ado, let's see what this is. I'm here for it. Ready? Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
In news that shocked the world, U.S. Special Forces are now stationed just 6 miles off China's coast. With their presence accidentally leaked, China's responded with the expected levels of outrage. Yet the U.S. military has refused to back down, and in fact has now confirmed the presence of American special operators in Taiwan will now be permanent. The move was controversial, to say the least, and China has labeled it as an act of provocation. Yet it's not Taiwan that's threatening to invade China, but rather the other way around, and hence why members of the U.S. Army's Green Berets, along with other operators, will now be permanently stationed on at least 2 islands just off the Chinese coast. U.S. service members have visited Taiwan before, but this is the first time that America is putting boots on the ground permanently, and all under the invitation of Taiwan itself. Funding for a permanent presence was secured under the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, and it's unknown just how many American soldiers now make Taiwan a part of their duty rotation. What we do know so far is that there are U.S. soldiers on at least 2 sites in Taiwan, the island of Penghu and the island of Kinmen, which is just 6 miles off China's coast. The Department of Defense has remained tight-lipped on the purpose of these special forces, though it did confirm that one of their goals is to help train Taiwan's own special and amphibious forces. Green Berets specialize in defending against enemy special forces, making them ideally suited to the task of preparing Taiwan for the inevitable insurgency.
Look, guys, the U.S. has bases all over the world. You know, it's no strange thing to send the special operators, or special, in this case, Green Berets, to Taiwan, who's, you know, they're always butting heads with China. And if anything, it makes sense to train said special forces in the host country. Okay? And also it serves as a strategical advantage. If things were to pop off, we have, I'll put it this way, right? We have a right to go get our people. How we go get our people and the force that we use to go get our people, you know? If you think of it as a chess game, we're moving our pawn, right? And if it's ever in danger, we go get them. Do we blow some shit up along the way? Possibly. You know what I mean? That's what I hear. Okay, special forces. The fact that it was leaked, someone should be put to death about that, right? Oh man, this is where the conflict is, guys. This is where my conflict is with the public civilian side, who has the right to know because they are funding military operations in an insane way, especially in the U.S. They have the right to know. But they don't need to know everything, especially our moves, because what happens is that information that gets leaked endangers soldiers' lives. You know, and that's the stuff that is mad frustrating. Like, I get it. I understand it. We have to know everything. We have to be in the know. Like, I get that. We don't need to know everything. In fact, it's great that we don't know everything. That's how this country can soldier on, pun intended. But yeah, the fact that shit's leaked, they need to find the leak and they need to rain hell upon them. You know, that's the internal struggle I have. Do the American public need to know? No. Think about how many American heroes, and just soldiers, special operations, special forces, let's say special operators that this country has supported that have gone unthanked, and how many crises global crises have been averted due to actions that we will never understand, and will ever see the light of day. The unsung heroes, the ones that don't do it for the fame and glory, but just because it needs to get done. So that's where I'm at with this already. Just 1 minute and 29 seconds in. I try to think a little bit bigger. Like, okay, we have troops on the ground there permanently. Well, that means we establish some sort of base there, forward operating base, that we can go and extract troops if we need to, right, in said amount of force, and be primed in a prime location to be within striking distance. Very rapid striking distance if something were to pop off. So anyway, back to the video.
Insertion of Chinese Special Forces operators if a conflict ever sparks up in the region. A major focus of the Green Beret mission in Taiwan is preparing to counter China's Special Forces threat, as well as identify and neutralize infiltrators and sabotage agents. This is a major concern, given that Taiwan intelligence regularly discovers Chinese collaborators or infiltrators in the Taiwanese military, the general population, or even its government. For its part, China has launched an aggressive campaign of gray zone warfare against Taiwan in an effort to sway public opinion or help set the stage for an invasion. Chinese infiltrators stir up the Taiwanese population, with little success to date, but also gather detailed information on Taiwan's defenses. In case of a war, it's expected that the first phase of an invasion will include a massive sabotage campaign across the islands, all performed in an attempt to slow or hamstring Taiwan's initial response to Chinese incursions. Political and military leaders are also the target of Chinese special forces. Plans show that specialized kill teams will be sent to assassinate Taiwan's leadership as part of China's spearhead during its invasion of Taiwan. Here, the Green Berets are well suited for helping train Taiwan's forces, with Green Berets typically providing security for American VIPs during wartime scenarios. During Desert Storm, American General Norman Schwarzkopf, who oversaw the entire campaign, had his own security detail of Green Berets to thwart Iraqi attempts to assassinate him. Many in the U.S. military believe that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan is inevitable, and recent reports state that China will likely be fully prepared for such an invasion by 2027. The initial estimate was that China would capitalize on political turmoil after the 2024 American election to invade by 2025. But a massive corruption scandal amongst the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force seems to have significantly eroded Chinese President Xi Jinping's confidence in his military. The scandal has ensnared numerous senior PLARF and other military officials, including 2 now former commanders of the Rocket Force. It's also revealed that it's possible a number of Chinese missile silos had faulty doors that prevented their missiles from being fired, a revelation supported by the well-documented corruption and poor quality work of Chinese construction firms. The PLARF is the key to any invasion of Taiwan, as China's rocket force is tasked with neutralizing U.S. regional power. Via long-range ballistic missiles, China aims to shut down American airfields across the Pacific for long enough to successfully land on Taiwan. Long-range anti-ship missiles will target U.S. Navy surface action groups, with the specific goal of sinking American carriers. The PLARF's entire purpose is basically to enable China freedom of action in the Taiwan Strait by keeping U.S. naval and air forces at bay. But if this specialized force is incapable of doing its job, China stands a little chance of successfully landing on Taiwan. China's corrupt.
That's huge. If you control like the shipping lanes, that's like stranglehold on the whole region. You know what I mean? And that cannot happen for free trade anywhere. Like that trade route needs to stay open at all costs.
Corruption scandal may have bought the U.S. and Taiwan a few more years, but either way, America is taking the threat of a Chinese invasion more seriously than it ever has before in history. Many of the intelligence and military community agree that invasion is all but inevitable, and until now, America has retained a position of strategic ambiguity. However, in an effort to deter an invasion in the first place, American President Joe Biden publicly affirmed twice that he would defend Taiwan. White House press staff were quick to walk the comments back, creating even more ambiguity about the US's real intentions and inserting doubt into Chinese calculations. Though the presence of US Special Forces so close to China leaves little room for interpretation. As America gears up for new weapon sales to Taiwan, it's likely that these operators aren't there just to train in countering China's own special forces and sabotage or infiltration attempts, but also to help train Taiwanese troops in new tools the US has made available for purchase.
Wow.
Amongst these is the Black Hornet. These micro-drones have seen action in Ukraine, where Ukrainian special operators have utilized them to conduct covert surveillance against Russian forces.
Wow.
The small drones are perfect for local reconnaissance and include 3 cameras, one facing forward, one facing down, and one canted at a 45-degree angle from the nose. The powerful little drone is even strong enough to fly in harsh winds, despite its tiny size of 6 by 1
Wow.
inches and a total weight of
crazy.
18 grams. Its loiter time is around 20 to 25 minutes, which is the same amount of time it takes to recharge its battery. Therefore, with 2 drones, one can be ready for flight as soon as its partner returns from a mission. The drone even has night vision and infrared capability, perfect for recon at night. Very little has been publicly confirmed about the specific mission and training that America's Green Berets are undertaking in Taiwan, but their location on outlying islands is a strong hint of other aspects of their mission.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's interesting. I'm surprised that, you know what? I'm surprised that, I bet you they've been there for a lot longer. I bet you they've been there a lot longer. Because you have special operators like Delta Force and stuff way ahead of any sort of leak that just get summoned to go. Green Berets are, yeah, they're a legit unit. Like, how do I say this? Like, when I say legit unit, I'm not saying their legitimacy is questioned. Like, no, it's like Army Rangers, Army Green Berets, right? That's the Army's SF group, Special Forces group. Like, yeah, you can become a Green Beret. There's training to become a Green Beret. All right. So when they move, there's paper trails for Green Berets. They don't operate in, let's say, in the shadows. Let's say like a Delta Force Special Forces group, where they'll just get there and the paperwork. There is no paperwork. Delta Force operators, yeah, you don't exist, pretty much. I'm guessing they've been in country for a long time at this point. And the paperwork got there, and I guess it could have been leaked. But man, man, something's brewing. I feel like something's always brewing, right? Man, this is going to be interesting. What do you say? 2027. Okay, so we are training. Are we going to be doing this like proxy war style? Is that how it's going to happen? Because that's kind of like our MO. Like, it's going to be interesting, guys. This is a big issue, big point of tension right now. So, man,
the proximity to China's coast.
That's what I was going to say. All these kind of videos, right? They work with what's been leaked, what's known. There's tons of stuff that they don't know from both sides. They are allowed to put out what they know, and what they know is allowed. You know what I mean? So think about how many secrets that are close to the chest that each country has. Think about that. For everything that we know, there's 10 times that we don't know. At least I hope and pray. Right? At least I hope and pray that there is. I hope it's not like, here are the cards. Let's face up. Let's do it. But anyway, all right. Let me go back a little bit because I don't want to talk over this video. It's pretty interesting.
Green Berets are undertaking in Taiwan, but their location on outlying islands is a strong hint of other aspects of their mission. The proximity to China's coast could hint at the preparation for Taiwan's own special forces to conduct counter-infiltrations into China itself in case of hostilities. Any invasion of Taiwan would take months to prepare for, as troops are moved to the coast and ships are assembled. This gives Taiwanese special forces an opportunity to conduct sabotage missions inside China itself in an effort to slow the invasion or delay it. Given that tidal conditions of the Strait of Taiwan itself are only favorable for an invasion at 2 different times of the year, a delay caused by sabotage could delay an invasion long enough to make it politically not viable. Using encrypted and jam-resistant communication links, special forces on these islands could direct long-range fires against Chinese vessels moving into the strait. This is a critical concern for China, and one that we know it's spent a lot of time worrying about. In case of war, U.S. Marines will be used to conduct amphibious landings on outlying islands across the strait and near China's coast. A structural reorganization of American Marines has now made them into a far more flexible and agile force, with the ability to deploy into outlying islands or seize them by force and turn them into anti-ship missile bases with the help of tools like HIMARS. America's goal in the Pacific is to present China with more complications than it can resolve, overwhelming its ability to defend itself and its...
I got 99 problems, and America's all of them. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying that, America is invincible, because we are not. Nothing is. No one is invincible. But what happens is the friends that the U.S. has, the allies U.S. has, if you launch, let's say, an attack on, let's say, a military base, it's a declaration of war, and you not only get the U.S., you get the strength of its allies as well, who are hand in hand with us in all conflicts, and that's the problem. Not just us, not just the U.S. You'll have your hands full with us, for sure, for damn sure. But when you include the might of its allies, of its friends, that's a bigger headache, So that's right here on the screen. That's a pretty valid issue. You know what I mean?
Invasion forces. These islands could also host mobile air defense systems to harass the Chinese Air Force as it attempts to seize air superiority over the strait and Taiwan itself. We've seen an example of how successful the aggressive use of air defenses can be in Ukraine, with the Navy deploying Patriot and NASAM air defenses just behind the front line. The surprise move resulted in a brutal ambush of Russian aircraft that scored approximately a dozen downed aircraft, including very high-value and expensive airborne alert and control aircraft well behind the front lines.
That's the other thing, the war in the Ukraine and the gifting of weapons to the Ukrainians to fend off the Russian invasion, like that was a win of a test of tactics, like. We found out what their stuff is made out of. I'm not saying Russia and China are comparable. I'm just saying now we know in real war what these weapon systems can do because of this conflict in the Ukraine. So I just know that we're pulling a lot of intel from the Ukrainian conflict, 100%.
U.S. Special Forces on Taiwan itself would be critical to America's response to Chinese aggression. They would not only help Taiwan defend itself from Chinese Special Forces, but also help coordinate action between Taiwan's military and America's own. Their knowledge of American weapon systems would prove invaluable as Taiwan purchases ever greater numbers of them, and their ability to relay precise targeting data on Chinese forces to American strike capabilities would be crucial for the rapid and accurate destruction of invading forces and their support equipment. All this doesn't come without significant risk, though. In any invasion of Taiwan, it would put the U.S. service members in the direct line of fire. Yet this was always going to be the case, as the war would predominantly play out between China's Navy and Air Force against America's own Navy and Canadian Air Force, the addition of ground combat troops could prove politically contentious for Americans, especially if the nation elects an isolationist president or one with Chinese sympathies. However, the present course being charted by America does not indicate this will be the case. For the first time in U.S.-Taiwan relations, the island democracy has become the beneficiary of America's foreign military finance program. This is not a loan or a weapons purchase, but rather direct military assistance provided throughout history to various nations such as Ukraine, Egypt, Afghanistan, and others. An $80 million transfer of weapons was meant to bolster Taiwan's defenses, with the added side effect of boosting the domestic economy by creating a need to replace those same supplies. For decades, the U.S. has maintained a strategy of ambiguity on the Taiwan matter and refused to officially recognize the country so as to not anger China. In the past, U.S. arms sales to the nation were meant to ensure that it had enough weapons to defend itself, but not so much as to completely deteriorate relations with China. Yet, as many have observed, China's military advantage over Taiwan is now massive, and the old strategy no longer works. Taiwan needs direct military assistance and a significant amount of it in order to deter the far more powerful and modern China from attempting an invasion. No one except senior U.S. and Taiwanese officials know exactly what weapons Taiwan is getting at the moment, but it's likely that it includes a healthy amount of Stinger short-range air defense missiles and Javelin anti-tank guided missiles, both of which have proven invaluable in Ukraine. But that $80 million was only the start, and shortly after, Taiwan placed an order for an additional $500 million in new weapons on top of the aid package. The nation is also sending 2 battalions of troops to train in the U.S., the first time that's happened since the 1970s, and before the U.S. switched official recognition from Taiwan to China. Taiwan is in dire need of restructuring when it comes to its military in the face of growing Chinese aggression, and the U.S.'s aim is to help with that. Its main battle tanks are mostly aging Cold War models donated or sold by the U.S. and unlikely to offer much resistance against China's more modern tanks. It also has a critical shortfall of missile systems for both air defense and to counter Chinese armored vehicles, a problem the U.S. is attempting to fix with ongoing arms sales, but it's also being affected by the need to send these same weapons to Ukraine. Taiwanese units are also hovering around 60% of their required manpower, thanks to the reduction of military service from 1 year to just 4 months in 2013. To remedy this, Taiwan has reinstated a mandatory full year of service for all youth, but the nation faces significant problems on the training front that the U.S. is attempting to help rectify. Taiwanese citizens jokingly refer to this period of service as summer camp, and those interviewed say there's no regular training and they only practice firing 50-year-old rifles every 2 weeks. While American combat troops undergo rigorous training on marksmanship fundamentals, such training has been lacking in the Taiwanese military, and there is little, if any, emphasis on physical fitness. All of these shortfalls are changing under immense pressure from the U.S. War game after war game has shown that China inevitably lands its forces on Taiwan, even if its amphibious fleet suffers heavy losses. This has led the U.S. to pressure Taiwan into investing far more resources into its army, which Washington says should be prepared to fight China, not just on the beaches, but in the cities, towns, and jungles as well. The strategic reality is that due to its proximity to China and the need for the U.S. Navy and Air Force to operate from so far away, Taiwan needs to be fully prepared for the inevitable incursion of Chinese ground forces. Taiwan's army thus needs to be
Chinese ground forces. I think they're the biggest boots army out there. Like it has to be 2 million in. I don't know how many of that is like considered ground forces and specialized. I don't know how it's like divvied up, but yeah. And let's say an invasion of Taiwan is just 6 miles away to at least one of their islands. It's. I feel like this gonna bubble over. It's bound to happen at some point in our lives here, and we're gonna see who all that draws into the fray, right? And we're gonna see what's happening. I feel like there's gonna be a massive cyber war done way before any of this kicks off. So what do you guys think? I get it. This channel we walk a very fine line, especially dealing with politics, and I understand that. And I'm more of a, I respect everyone's opinion. I have my own. understandably, and I'm not I'm never going to be the one to impose my opinions on other people, right? But I'll hear you out. But this is, you don't have a military action without politicians that you agree or strongly disagree with. So there's that. So with knowing that, right, understanding that there's any olive branch here. I get it. We're a kind of a military reaction channel, so there's that olive branch. I get it. The behind the scenes. This is more troops on ground. What'll happen? Strategy, right? Not the reasoning behind, or I guess the strategy is part of the reason behind it. Anyway, I don't know how to do these without going completely into the deep end on politics, guys. And I hope you understand that and respect that enough. But look, politics is a whole different channel. It's a whole different channel. This is potential war strategy. This is a what if thing. This is pretty crazy. So I guess if I'm going out here and doing one of these what if videos, then yeah, F it. Let's just go for it then. But anyway, let's just get back into this, because this is going to draw a lot of people in, a lot of allies, a lot of things are going to be happening when and if this kicks off.
To hold the island's political and economic centers long enough for the U.S. and allied forces to destroy the Chinese Navy and Air Force. This would leave Chinese army forces on the island cut off from resupply and inevitably forced to surrender. Leading the way in helping retrain Taiwan's army are U.S. Special Forces, and their permanent deployment hints that this is not their only mission. Now go check out USA versus China military weapons technology comparison.
What? Oh, man. Now, see, that's the kind of video I was talking about, like the U.S. versus China military army weapons technology comparison. Like, dude, get out of here. Like, whatever they were able to find, like, it's not 100% of either countries. So those are the kind of videos that, they're interesting to check out just to see what they know that we have. Because if infographics knows what we have, so does China. And we know everything that China has. They're not like breaking with technology. Like, oh my God, did you know the U.S. Like, yeah, that's, if they know, it's common knowledge. They're not like privy to top secret shit. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that journey. Like, this is stuff that I love. I'm going to have on the channel intertwined with the Fat Electrician, because this channel is not going to be mirroring the Fat Electrician, guys. It's not a Fat Electrician reaction channel. Yes, we've had a lot of Fat Electrician. That's just because I enjoy the stories. I love what Nick's doing. But there is going to be more different types of content regarding war, battle strategy, different countries. This is where I want to get. I want to like expand my mind and learn different countries' militaries and what their capabilities are, what their history is. And honestly, I'm going to have some more of the Sabaton. I know it's not guys, not music channel, I understand that. But Sabaton History does an amazing job of the history behind some of their songs. And a lot of their history songs about history have to do with battle and war. So I will bring those over here soon. Probably within the week, you'll start seeing some Sabaton history videos, which I'm there for. All right. Anyway, guys, much love. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for rocking with the channel. Make sure you unplug. Do something legendary. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We're marching onwards towards 1K, and I'm here with you guys. I'm here with you guys. We are building this thing from the ground up. Much love. Thank you so much. Unplug, do something legendary, and I will see you all in the next video. Later, guys.